Good morning. It's time for our daily devotion, and today we are in Mark chapter 11. There's a particular verse in this chapter which I think may be one of the most difficult requests Jesus ever made of us. It regards prayer and praying in faith, and he's just talked about moving mountains, and he says this in verse 24. Therefore I say to you, all things for which you pray and ask, believe that you have received them, and they shall be granted you. Now, the insinuation by Jesus here is that we are to believe we've received them before we receive them. We are to believe that it's done before it appears to be done. We're to believe the mountain is moved before we see it budge. The truth is that that kind of faith is the kind of faith that moves mountains. That kind of faith is the kind of faith that sees God do extraordinary things in our lives. The problem is most of us don't believe it until we see it. When Thomas doubted that Jesus had really appeared to the disciples, Jesus said this to him, I'm glad you believe because you have seen, but blessed are those who believe who have not seen. Romans tells us that Abraham believed that he was going to have a son before he had a son. My definition of faith is calling what is not so, so that it can be so. In other words, when the mountain is sitting there and it doesn't appear to be moving, we assume, we believe, we have faith, we visualize it moved before it's moved. We count it as done. We count it as finished. We reckon it so. That's what faith is. Faith is believing that it's going to happen even before it happens, before there's any indication that it'll happen. So faith is believing that healing is coming when we're still sick. Faith is believing that our needs are met when we're still in financial crisis. Faith is believing that the relationship is healed even when we're still in the middle of a fight. Faith is believing that it's done before it's done. That's what faith is. Jesus says, you want to see mountains move in your life? Then believe you've received it before you've received it. Believe you've received it before you can see an indication of that. Believe it's done before it's done. That's faith. It doesn't take any faith to believe it's done once it's done. It doesn't take any faith to believe that it'll be accomplished once we can look at it and see it's accomplished. Faith is believing what is not seen, Hebrews tells us, the things hoped for. And that's what faith is. So I challenge you today to believe calling it so before it's so. Call it done before it's done. Believe it is finished before it's finished. And believe that God is going to get it all accomplished in His good time. Have faith, my friend. Have faith. And go make it a great day. And I'll see you tomorrow.